Hey, welcome to our first live stream here at DevHub. We're super excited for everyone to join us today. This is something that we really been thinking about for a while, and it's a kind of a response to all the feedback that we've been getting of how do we actually start to make what was Spaces before on Twitter or X, and make it more engaging. We're talking about very technical stuff. We have guests on sometimes who talk about very technical things, and that's hard just to do audio. So we're introducing this weekly live stream. Every Thursday at 5 p.m. UTC, we'll be live for at least an hour to talk about all different things related to the developer community in Near. We will be doing some code reviews. We'll be doing some basic news, some going over different topics. We'll take questions. We'll have all kinds of things going on, including the same regular guests that we would have on Spaces now will come here. So we hope that you subscribe and come join us every Thursday. We'll also post each of these episodes on our YouTube, so you can go back and see them. You'll see them also on Twitch, as well as a copy on X as well. Today, we have a few different topics that we're going to go over that I think are really relevant to what's going on in the ecosystem. We're going to talk a little bit about ETH Amsterdam, which is coming on this weekend here, and we want to make sure that we talk about some of the hacking, some of the bounties that we have going on there. We're going to be talking about some different news in the ecosystem, some great updates to some of our SDKs and things like that. We have some interesting stuff I think that we could get into around some of the things of like sharding and storage and kind of go over some of that. Some of these terms that are maybe you see on social media are maybe a little bit confusing. And so we want to kind of go over some of that as well. And then depending on how much time we have with other stuff, we can go into other things. We encourage you to comment and ask questions if you like. We're always happy to kind of jump into some of that stuff as well. We're going to get started right away to talk about ETH Amsterdam. One of our two of our DevRels are going to actually be there this weekend, and they're going to be there helping hackers use Near and leverage Near for some exciting bounties. So I'm going to first bring up Owen. And Owen's one of our DevRels who's going to be able to kind of talk through what that event should be like and what to expect. Bring Owen up. Hey, Owen.
Hey, how's it going? Yeah,
Good,
so
good.
I'm now actually just
Nice.
going for a walk, trying to not get run over by any bicycles. Everyone just seems to cycle here, which is kind of great.
Yeah.
Pretty cool city. But yeah, we're starting with ETH Amsterdam tomorrow. I think it's starting at like 10, and then I'm delivering a workshop on chain abstraction, chain signatures on Friday at like 4 o'clock, I think. And then tomorrow, I'll also be giving more of like a less technical sort of keynote Saturday. So here at Amsterdam, they're very focused on privacy and security with ETH Dam. But so that naturally feeds into like ZK. So we're pushing. We don't have a precise bounty for that, but yeah, as you can see on the screen, our first bounty is to do with chain signatures, very similar to what we ran in Korea. So just implementing chain signatures in whatever way you want. So whether that be like sending on Ethereum or creating, I know Proximity gave this example of like an ordinals marketplace on Bitcoin, and that's something I would really like to see. And just I'm really some cool ideas here because this is my first hackathon. I wasn't in where we're properly pushing chain signatures. We did it a little bit in Denver, but now we have more resources. I'm just so excited to see what people are going to come up with and build. Then, yeah, we have another bounty. So if you don't want to hack on chain signatures, you're a JavaScript hater, a bit like myself, then you can just integrate with near in whichever way you see. Near is not just a layer one, as we know, it's a whole tech stack. So whether you want to integrate with near components, creating a decentralized front end to interact with Ethereum and sort of use the no auth system, set up all the wallet connections and whatever, and it's in that one place. Like near.org or some other gateway where you can surf the open web. So you could do that. You could integrate with near data availability. You could, as I say, they're quite big on C. So we threw in some ZK ideas there. And some of the hacker chain team I know are going to be here who are big with ZK, and they created OPAC. So they're going to help us out a bit on the ZK side. And I've thrown in a couple of my own ideas, which, because people, they come to a hackathon and like some are fixed in, they know what they want to build, but others, they're excited to build, but they don't necessarily know quite what they want to build yet. So we like to is there. Jose, one of our team members, he suggested this whistleblowing system integrating with ZK. That it's a new like EU law where if a company has like over employees or something, it has to have an anonymous system to submit like a complaint or whatever. So ZK could have a really useful application there. So yeah, I'm just very excited to see what.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think this is really exciting to start to see a lot of these topics come to fruition. Again, there's been a lot of talk in some different educational stuff, but right now to actually now see developers start to leverage this is exciting. For you as a DevRel there, what do you look for when you talk to these different teams and try to help them?
So in sort of like judging criteria or?
Yeah, I think judging, but just the overall vibe of during the hackathon. You know, is it something where you try to give them space to just kind of work? Do you like to kind of jump in and see where you can be of assistance?
Well, it really depends on the person and the team, I think, because a lot of them, some people will need like hand holding if they're new to near or even like new to web, and others they drink 5 Red Bulls and they sit at their computer, and you can see that they don't want to be disturbed. They're in game mode. I saw one person at ETH Denver. He had his they're called, but you know the new Apple goggle things.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Like yeah, he had a pair of them in, and you could just tell he was on another level of just hacking, and he was locked in. So I didn't want to yeah, others need support. But what I love to see from the hackers is just their sort of same level of excitement as me around the tech.
Yeah,
that's what I love to see in a team to start with.
no, for sure, for sure. That's it's exciting. For you, you know, I think just kind of like as a representative of DevHub this weekend, like what do you hope to get out of this, and besides obviously some great projects being submitted?
Well, yeah, I think except for the hackathon projects being built, I'd love to see just the boundary of what chain signatures can do being pushed forward, because like I say, I've thrown some ideas out there, but I still have no clue, because this is quite in its early stages, what can be built with. So I think there's a lot of unrealized potential, and yeah, I'm hoping the sort of needle can be moved forward, and once you like once more good ideas are brought to the table, then like even more ones come after that. So that's what I'm looking to get out of this, and just speaking with hackers, telling people about Near, and seeing all their new projects, even if it's not building on Near. Just awesome to see what people.
For sure, for sure. So all that is great and super exciting, but the most important question is, what is the swag situation for this weekend?
What is the swag? So we have some t-shirts. Go some t-shirts. We're not going as big here as we were at ETH Denver. Like as in ETH Denver, the foundation were obviously there. So I'm all merched up right now.
Nice.
But we'll definitely have t-shirts, pins, and maybe some. Yeah, I think that's mostly it. Stickers, pins, t-shirts, and we've already started like a hacker group chat, and one guy in there was saying that he really wanted me. So I said, if you win one of the bounties, I'll give you one of mine.
Nice. Nice. I love it. Awesome. Well, I know you got a lot going on over there. Any parting things before you get back to it?
Not excited to see what people build, and yeah, that's it already. Or
Perfect.
awesome.
Well, enjoy Amsterdam, enjoy the weekend, and awesome stuff. Appreciate you, Owen.
See you later.
All right, thanks. All right. Great stuff. So again, really exciting stuff happening this weekend. If you're out there at ETH Amsterdam, it's going to be a great experience to see everything that's going on. As Owen said, a lot of stuff around privacy and security. It's a big topics over there. Again, another opportunity to really start building on Near. We also, if you do actually go and build and win, we actually have a really cool bounty program that's available. So I'm going to actually bring Boris, who heads up our DevRels, and Boris will talk a little bit more about what actually our bounty program is, and some more about some of the different, like maybe hacking tips and tricks. How's it going, Boris?
Hey, how are you? How are you? Thanks for having me. Yeah, I mean, it's we've been working heavily on and making the life easier to our hackers on the hackathon. So we are always trying to bring new ideas, new stuff to. So it's worth your time spending during the hackathon. So I think it damn as always. We've been doing recently. We were doing the bounty mixers. When we will let you know how you can pick another, how you can use Near and other sponsors together, so you can get more more bang for your buck, right? Try to get more bounties, more prizes, more everything. Also, the DevHub is going to are going to be there. We usually run a 24/7 operation during the hackathons. We have the Telegram group for the hackathons, so please make sure that you contact Loot Mill or Owen so they can add you to the Telegram group, and you can start asking questions, even if they are not there. Probably it's late. We usually have someone on the clock based on the time zones. So yeah, make sure you join the club, the Telegram group, sorry, and then make sure also that we also doing the bounty boosters. This is a program we run that if you submit a submission during ETH Dam, and then later in the year you use Near to win a hackathon in any other hackathon that we don't already sponsor, we will match part or the whole of your bounty. So it's an incentive to build now on Near and build later on Near to in other hackathons. So yeah, we're doing that. Also, make sure that you have access to the latest documentation on chain abstraction. It can be it can be a little abstract, no pun intended, on the
Mhm.
beginning. But once you pick it up, you will notice that it's not that it's not that obscure, and it's actually very useful. Right? So make sure you catch up the talks. We also have plenty of content and video, and we also have the tutorials. We have the sample code. So yeah, I think we set you up for success. In this latest hackathons in the past few days, we have had hackathon winners that also have been near building on near. So these guys
Mhm.
have been using these tools we have given them. So they don't only grab the near bounty, but also grab the main general bounty and some other the guys in Seoul. They win the hackathon and they win near bounty and they win other bounties too. So we work
Amazing.
with them heavily so they can, make it happen.
Yeah.
So
No, that's I mean that's the way to do it, right? I mean, if you're gonna get involved, and that's the thing too about like chain abstraction, where you're not just limited to building on near. It really lets you kind of open up and access these other chains, as Boris mentioned. So I put on the screen. So in our docs, which are constantly being updated, some great work from the docs team, constantly working to make these better each day. If you go over to concepts and you go down to chain abstraction, you can start to dive into that, and everything is in there. It gives you a nice breakdown of all the different components of it, and even as you get into chain signatures, it even gives you nice use cases, which is really a great place to get started. Also, too, we want to make sure, as Boris said, at any time, we do have a main also Telegram channel. There's always people helping out, not just DevHub, but just community members willing to help out. And so never feel like you're stuck. You can always jump into one of these different things.
definitely, and yeah, and make sure you will be sponsoring more hackathons. We're doing more of this, more online stuff. So make sure you follow us on Twitter, join the Telegram groups. We're here to help, and so you understand what we're trying to achieve. And once you get in, you will notice the convenience and the how 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 cool is being able to use near as your main stack, either for decentralized backend or front end, or to do multi-chain stuff. So yeah, make sure
Yeah.
you join all the channels, the Discord, the Telegram, whatever you need, and definitely follow us on Twitter, the DevHub account. We always keep posting very useful information. We keep you up to date on the next events. I think the next batch is the summer. The summer season will be in Berlin, will be in ETC, and then we go to Asia. So make sure you follow us.
Awesome. Yeah, no, that's great. While we have you, I'd love to kind of just dive in a little bit. I mean, you've done so many of these hackathons now. What's like, if I'm going to this one this weekend or just any of them, what are some good overall tips that you've learned over the time now of like what should a hackathon participant look for?
Oh well, I mean, usually the general uh, flow for hackers is they spend Friday night, Saturday morning, trying to figure out what they wanted to do, and then they start to jump into the technical stack like a Saturday afternoon. So at that point, it gets a little heavy. You've been there 24 hours, so you start to. It's probably harder to start to dealing with the heaviest stuff. So I would definitely recommend to try to figure out the what you're doing by Friday. I know it's hard, but as much as you can, so at least you can choose the stack, right? So you can start. So you start Saturday morning fresh, looking at the difficult part. Don't leave the hard part for Saturday 11 p.m. We usually start getting. I mean, for the Rio, I was with the guys at 2 a.m. and the same for Seoul 11 p.m. So I know it's harder at hour. We
Mhm.
were there for you at that time, but it's easier if you start getting fresh
For
the
sure.
the, the hard technical stuff. That's something that you need to I mean, I will do it. I used to do hackathons a lot on the other side as a hacker, and when we start doing that, we prepare. So Saturday morning, we know which sponsor we're using, we were the difficult parts. We start working fresh on that. The second is don't stay stuck. Don't try to fix an issue for hours. Right? If you are dealing with this 30 minutes, 45 minutes, come and talk to us. Probably we
Yep.
already know the answer. We probably, so you don't have to stay in. Even it's not in we do this. If it is not near related, if you're having, I don't know, JavaScript issue, come to us. You know, we have a pretty good set of very experienced developers, so probably we can help you, right? So don't stay stuck for hours. It's not worth it. Um, just, try to find a solution as quick as possible, and yeah, don't stay stuck.
Yeah.
Uh,
No, great advice. And I like the emphasis on like just coming for help, period. And that's because that's what I think we've really tried to pride ourselves on, right? Of having quality developer relations where if you are stuck on any part of this, not just near related, we can help walk you through it. We can point you to other resources. Uh, and that's the exciting thing about near is that you can have different skill sets to allow you to really actually be able to work at whether it's you know JavaScript or Rust or whatever you want to get into. You have that flexibility.
yeah, sometimes hackers act like if asking for help is like cheating. No, we want you to win. We will give you everything you need, and we'll do our best that you win. We want you to win our bounty, other bounties, the hackathon. So don't don't feel like it's not like it's not okay, or it's better not to ask for help. Come for help and anytime you want. Oh, on the final, because in just a quick one, even by if by the end you work a lot and you couldn't get to the point you wanted, always submit. Don't feel like you don't want to submit because, I don't know, it's bug or something like that. You might not
Sure.
win the main prize or the biggest prize, but you will get surprises of probably you get some recognition there. So always submit, no matter what you do. If you spend time on this, submit at the end of the hackathon, and talk with the sponsors, and you might have a good idea that it was probably you couldn't deliver because it was too big or too ambitious or too technical difficult, but it's still a good idea. So yeah,
Hmm.
submit at the end. Mhm.
Yeah, great. Yeah, awesome advice. Awesome advice. Sticking on just some of the stuff with dev relations and things like that. Uh, what are some things I think for anyone coming into near that we should probably just kind of give out as like basic advice? Forget like just a hackathon, just like you want to get, you come across near, want to get started. Where should I go?
Well, I mean, definitely the first starting point is the documentation page. Then it depends of where you're coming from. If you are a smart contract developer, I think I will try to. If you are not familiar with Rust, try to understand. I mean, even though Rust is a completely different path from, for example, Solidity, the structure, the paradigm of the smart contracts are the same. So you will find similar standards that achieve like fungible, non-fungible tokens, similar stuff. So that uh, get uh, a quick start on Rust, and then try using that, keeping that in mind. Jump into the smart contracts tutorials we have there, so you can uh, you can quickly design a smart contract that is, basically like 90% of the contracts following standards, so that fits standard and fits what you want to achieve. That's the one. Then if you want to if you are a front-end developer, so React is a key for doing what we used to call boss, now it's called React on Chain. Basically the name is very self-explanatory. This is React on Chain. It's a way for you to deliver React components, uh, use on chain, decentralize it. So I will also, the documentation has a lot of examples, and we created a lot of widgets for you, so you don't have to go there. And if you go, can you go to the sandbox, near.org sandbox? Is the easiest way to look at the libraries. So there is a chance that if you're using going to this, there is some of the components that already exist are already there, so you don't have to worry about us of you don't have to start from scratch. So if you go to the sandbox, in the indoor sandbox, there is a part you can there's for discovery, and you can go and search for existing components. And with the there you go. So go to the let's wait for it to create new components or open component. Yeah, we'll get
Just
started.
get started. Yeah, we'll get started.
So if you go to discover on the top,
got excited there. Hold on, there we go.
Then you will see on top in the menu on it doesn't let you.
Okay, keep sending me back.
Skip back around.
There we go.
So you will see there a lot of components people already did. So probably a big part of your front end, what you need is already there. As you will notice in Boss or Neuron Chain, every code is open source, so you will be able to fork it and start using it. Right. So that's also a very good starting point for if you want to do deploy on Boss. And for the finally for the chain abstraction, Ilya, the CEO, has talked extensively on. There you are. Every component have the source code. So don't if it's a component that you feel is standard, your probably is already exists. So just search for it and implement it. Do the change you need to do, and don't waste time starting from scratch. It's not worth the time. But I was saying for chain abstraction, the CEO Ilya has done plenty of videos about this. So it's important for chain abstraction that you first understand the concept, right? The idea before just jumping into implementation, because this is another way. It's not just a bridge. It's not just a standard cross chain stuff. So it's a different approach. It uses. I mean, you will have to deal with the relayers. So you need to understand how the relayers work. You need to do account derivation, for example. So it's important that you understand the idea of what happens when you derive an account, stuff like that. Because there are plenty of videos that are explained on the high level. So try to go either Ilias or other ones. I think Bo probably has one. So look at it. Try to understand what this is all about first. It won't take you much. It will take you 15, 20 minutes. So you get the idea. And once you get the idea, it will be easier to implement. We have seen in other hackathons that hackers just jump into it because they assume it's some kind of bridging or something. But it's not the case. So try to understand a little what is actually the chain abstraction idea, and then you can jump to implement with it will be easier. You will the code you see the examples we have will make more sense if you understand the whole concept before.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, there's so many great resources on here. Again, it's worth taking the time, whether you're doing a hackathon or not, just to kind of jump in and get a sense of really what's happening and what's being deployed and available to you.
Yeah,
awesome. Well, no, really exciting stuff. I think there's a lot of great things continuing to happen here. So we're about that. If you have a few minutes, I'd love to keep you on to talk about the next topic. We're going to talk a little bit about storage on Near from a developer's perspective. You mind sticking around for a bit?
Talking to me?
Yeah, I'm talking to you. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I can stay around. I don't have a lot, but I think I start 5 more minutes or something.
Okay. Yeah. So maybe just from your perspective, so you've also developed and built on here on Near. So I think one of the challenges that people come from Web 2 to Web 3, which I wanted to talk about today, was concept of storage. How would you describe that to a developer who is not comfortable or not new, I guess, new to blockchain?
Well, the main thing is that even though blockchain sometimes is seen as a database, it cannot be used as a standard database, especially when a large amount of data are necessary, right? So the blockchain projects are in general, they have been trying to figure out solutions how to use to decentralize files. That's probably the main issue. Well, not main issue, one of the issues. For example, for files, then the IPFS came out, so they created like frameworks so you can store large amounts of data like images and video, so you can reference them from your smart contract. And that's probably the main issue you will have. You have a smart contract, you want to do stuff online, you want to do your NFTs, but you cannot store the image or the video on the smart contract because it would be unfeasible from the amount of gas or computation you have to do on blockchain. So then they created this decentralized approach that basically different nodes provides storage and they get paid for that. That's the model of IPFS, and it's quite simple right now. You just upload a file, then they will give you a URL, and then you reference the URL from the smart contract. Doesn't mean that the smart contract can do anything with that exactly. They just have to they just use that URL to present it to whoever is processing the smart contract, right? They won't call the data from their URL. They will tell whoever the website or the app displaying the NFT, this is the URL of the image you need to display. So at the end, the data is pulled by the front end. But sometimes you need the data in the smart contract, right? You cannot pull it from somewhere, and there are some ways to do that. One of them we've been talking about recently is the what we call a Mercatrice. There is a way that you can store hash data into the smart contract. There is a way that you can compress data and you can access the data and verify that some data is in the smart contract at a relatively low cost. So the Merkle trees are a real, complex, real structure, but I mean, they seem, but the general idea is simple, right? You store the information as a tree. I don't know if some people might not familiar what a tree is, but a tree is a computational structure that looks like a tree. It's like it has an initial node, root, starting point, and that initial root start pointing to leaves. So the leaves has information related to that root, right? So but the general idea is that when you hash it, when you compress it in a single, it's relatively easy to check if the hash contains a specific information. Let's say you use the hash to store the numbers from 1 to 100, so it will be simpler to ask the hash, is the number 43 in the tree, for example. The number 62 is easier to realize, the number 62 is there. So it is suitable for data structure, for storing data, because if someone is looking for something, it will be faster, easy to ask, or is my, I don't know, they're probably, you want to know if you own a specific NFT, and you say, do I own this NFT? And it will be fast to know, yes, you own it or not. You are in the tree or you are not in the tree. So then if you are retrieving that information, is also significantly simpler than going through what the approach for a traditional database will be. So the whole point here is that when you want, you have two options. Most of the time you will need to store the data outside using something like IPFS or other decentralized file system you want to use. IPFS you can even implement yourself. You can just run your own stuff, or you can find ways to compress the data or to use this structure like Merkle trees to store on the smart contract. So I think that's a very basic introduction, but that's the way I will start. I will start thinking, it can store the data in the smart contract. If it's large data like JSON files that have a lot of information, or image or videos, probably you need to go outside. But probably if you can put that JSON information more, simpler, you can use some structure like a Merkle tree and store it in the smart contract. And we will have an article about how to do store Merkle trees and smart contract in Rust. So make sure you read it when it's out.
No, that's super helpful introduction. I know you have to go. I don't want to hold you up more than that. I really appreciate you coming on talking about the hackathons and overall kind of the bounty stuff. And any last word before you have to jump today?
Yeah, no, I mean, anytime. And everyone, you're free to contact us or me or whoever, or DevRels, whatever you need, either for hackathons or you want to look into, you are a Solidity developer and you want to see how you can move your contracts from Solidity to Rust to more, or how to use Boss or whatever you need. The DevRels are here for you. And yeah, hope to see you around in any of the next hackathons we do.
Awesome. Good
Okay.
stuff.
Thank
Appreciate
you,
it, Boris. Thank you.
Bye.
All right. Thanks. Well, great stuff so far. I know there's some questions in the chat. So while we have some time, let me take a couple of those questions and then we can dive into some more stuff. So let's bring up the first question here. So is it feasible for chain abstraction to interact with ZK identity in Polygon, for instance? The answer is yeah, pretty much any transaction that you can do on another chain, you can actually start to do through the chain abstraction here on Near. And again, as Boris said, I would encourage everyone to watch some of the videos to see more of the technical implementation of this stuff. But basically, you are essentially controlling all of these other accounts on other chains through single Near transactions. So you're building out a Near transaction, which is then interacting with these other chains. So these are all concepts that we can absolutely start to incorporate. Another question. IPS in that context refers to recursion, right? Yeah. So again, this is a little more sometimes complicated cryptography type of stuff, but yeah. So being able to actually cycle through that tree and be able to reference points, and so it's all about referencing different what's called leaves of the tree in order to minimize your overall data storage and things like that. One of the things I think when we talk about storage is really important for a developer who's, again, new to any chain, and every chain is going to have different storage fees and what they expect out of storage. And if we're talking about directly in smart contracts, that obviously varies from chain to chain. But it's really interesting when you start to think about like how you start to actually use it and what do you really need to actually store. So let me give an example here. So on Near, we have Near Social, which is a social network that is fully on chain. So we're leveraging the React on chain for the actual front end. So that is all on the code itself for all those components are on chain. The data that is stored for the social network there, so all the posts and things like that and reactions are stored in a smart contract. Now it's just JSON that is being stored there, but it can add up over time. And so there are costs there. And so as you as a user are using that, you'll have to deposit a certain amount of Near to offset that cost that's going into that. Sometimes that doesn't always make sense. So obviously it depends on the price of like token, how much do you have to, what's the cost of actual storage? When you lower the cost of storage, what does that allow for from a security standpoint or just malicious behavior? So there's a lot of things that go into it. And again, every chain is going to handle that a little bit different. But that's a great example of what is possible to do something in a fully decentralized way. Everything is transparent. You can surface any piece of data. Nothing can actually be fully censored. And there's just a lot of freedom and flexibility there. The other side of that is that can actually add a lot of cost to what you're trying to do. So along with DevHub, I have my own project here on Near called Sharding, and we do NFTs. And so we use NFTs for marketing. And through that, we have to make sure that we are managing our cost of how much data we store per NFT on there, because that's part of the larger cost of running the business. So, for example, our initial mint contract would store all the basic, standard NFT information, the description, the link to the image, which was on IPFS, title reference, royalties, all the pieces, all that stuff, and all that adds up. It might be little strings here and there, and integers here and there, but it all starts to add up. And then when you start to get to scale, hopefully in any business, that cost becomes larger. So then the secondary part of that is then we start to seek out, how do we start to lower those costs? Is maybe how much data do you actually store on chain? What is the type of data? These are things that you have to actually start to pay attention to. Of, is it a U32 integer, or is it a U64? Makes a difference. It's small, but it makes a difference. And again, at scale, it adds up. So these are things where if you're coming from Web 2, you might not have thought about before. You're used to just maybe using like a MySQL Postgres database. You just pay a monthly fee, if maybe from like a cloud provider, and you're just throwing data in there. You have to be a little bit more conscious about how you're using that smart contract. And because it's not really a true database, it can act like one, but it's not really always that. So these are considerations to be aware of. If you're interested in this, if you have more questions, we certainly encourage you to actually go back, and ask more questions in our support channel. It's on the screen here and through Telegram. It's the best place to kind of reach out, and we can dive deeper into any of that. One of the other topics today that I did really want to get into, that I think is really relevant, if you've been following near, or you've just been around the larger crypto ecosystem, you may have heard the term sharding before. And that's a term for some people is sometimes difficult to really understand what's happening there, and why is a scaling solution, is that something that Near is trying to do, and how, as a developer, do I have to actually pay attention to what's happening with those shards, and what does that change for me as a programmer in my smart contracts? Do I actually have to do anything for that? So this is where something I think we could really uh, do something, I think, that's a little bit more uh, interactive here, and maybe we can kind of walk through a little bit of what this looks like. So let me bring up my screen here. Here we go. If we can get this. Hold on. No, we don't want to do that part. You see, this is why we do it live. We're a little we're still kind of learning some of the ropes on this stuff, but that's all right. So let's figure out this. We can get this going here. Oop. Here we go. Let's see if we can, this is going to show for us. All right, let's do it like this. Here we go. Perfect. All right, so I'm going to actually, I can't show that part. We'll do that next time. All right, so let's just talk. I was going to show my screen and draw something for you, but we can just talk it through, and I'll use my hands. So sharding is a really complicated concept if you don't really think it all the way through, but when we try to simplify it, it actually is not as scary as it first sounds. So here's a great analogy that I think everyone could use to better understand just the general concept of sharding. And this is not a blockchain concept either. This actually comes from databases. So database sharding is something that's the same idea here, where you're splitting up data. So the way I like to explain it and think about it is, let's say you have this extensive home library, right? You have a whole library, in your house that's full of all these different books, and the books are somewhat all over the place, and they're not really organized in any particular way. If I then started to break those books into different groups, and I had now separate sections, and I started to put those in different other rooms, and I started to spread out my books, and now I know that some books are in one room and some books are in another, and now I can go between these different rooms and get whatever book I need. Similar idea in sharding, where I'm just breaking up the data into these different areas, so that way I can actually, not have one room be overwhelming, right? Now I don't have to have one piece of information be overwhelming. So here, what we can start to do then in crypto and with what Near does is, so we break up how the contracts are on the chain into different shards. And what that does is, if you have a contract that is really heavily used and driving a lot of traffic, it doesn't have to actually affect the other contracts, because it can be either on its own shard or just with a few others. And the difference here on Near versus other implementations that have been talked about in the past, or maybe have been implemented, is that you do not ever have to be shard aware as you write your contract. You just assume that everything is in the same place, and you just write the way that it would be like that. So if I make a call to another contract, I don't have to worry about where it is. Near will handle all of that. And so the beauty of this is that you can start to really see a larger performance benefits that you would not get otherwise. Where if you have one project that is really, really doing a ton of transactions, and would normally be bogging down a chain, it can be on its own shard, and maybe that one's running a little bit slow, but everything else can run at normal speed. And that's the beauty of that. And again, as a developer here on Near, I don't have to think about any of that parts of it. It just happens. And that little bit of magic is really what starts to separate how you can scale long term. So these are the type of things that on Near we're really trying to get the information out, so you could see that while we're talking about some really uh, deeply technical concepts, for the developer experience, it's really a straightforward approach, and it's really a lot easier than I think maybe at first glance, where this is going to be too much information. Well, actually, we can make it really pretty simple for you, and you just worry about writing what you need to write, deploying the contract you need to deploy, and just go from there. So I think that's something that hopefully you can certainly spend more time on. There is a great uh, blog, and I'm gonna let me pull up this video here, and I think, and we won't actually watch it, but we can go back here. So let me. All right. So under near the protocol, there's all these different playlists here that are go over some of these different topics. But let me get to the one right. The whiteboard series here. This is really, I don't want to actually watch this. Uh, has so many great deep dives of how everything works. And if you go all the way back, there's actually some great discussions with the founder of Solana, where they talk about some of the different scaling solutions. And there's some really great stuff that you can learn from here that involves other chains and other builders and things like that. That's a great place to go if you have never seen any of these, and gives you some perspective. Also on the Near website, so we'll go to near.org, and if we go to uh, let's go to let's go to learn. There's some great stuff here about like how this all works around Yes, and so I would encourage people to just go into these different sections and get some more information if you're curious about this type of stuff here. As we're coming up on time here, a little bit on top of the hour, I do want to reiterate, if you haven't already, please subscribe to our newsletter. This goes out weekly, and what's great about this is you're going to get all of the news. We highlight everything that's happening, whether it's a update to some of the SDKs, whether it is some events that are happening, general news, new learning information, things like that. That's a huge piece of what we're doing every week. And this is something that, again, comes every week. We'll have everything you could possibly need in there. And that's something that really, I think would benefit anyone, even if you're just casually kind of getting interested into near, just to kind of keep up. There's so much stuff happening in I think in crypto and in tech in general. It's a great place to start with that. I also we can talk about a little bit about some of the stuff that's actually coming down now, because we have a newsletter going out later today for this week, and there's some really great stuff. We'll give you a sneak peek here of what's actually coming, so you guys can all see that. So thanks for sticking with us. If you have, right off the bat, like, we have the new SDK for Rust has come out. There's some great highlights there. Again, near core, which again for our validators specifically too, we have updates there. We have updates to the wallet selector, which is again a great infrastructure tool to be able to allow your users to use any one of the different wallets here on Near really easily by adding a single code base, things like that. You'll see here we have updates, some great stuff that's happening around infrastructure. There's some projects that are going on right now that are really trying to speed up and improve the infrastructure here on Near, and so there's some great pieces about that. We did a spaces recently with about WASM code coverage with the Hackathon team. You can find all of that. So again, anytime if you miss something throughout the week or whatever, we have all of that stuff there. We like to throw in some tips here and there, how to best engage with us. Really important. So as this open source project, we do encourage everyone to get involved with the NEPs, and those are our near improvement proposals and near enhancement proposals. And what they really are is about making the protocol better, and it's an opportunity for anyone to kind of contribute and bring forth ideas. And so we want to make sure that we're highlighting these each week for you, and anyone can go in and review them. It's all fully public, and you can comment as well. We also have some great community groups and calls that are coming up. So I would encourage people to check out some of the different community groups. You can see all of that information if you follow us on Twitter. That's a great place to do that. And we also list everything here as well for upcoming events and things like that. Really, it's a great opportunity. So please subscribe. The link is there at the bottom of the screen. We also want to invite you to for sticking around and being part of this. We do have a shard dog, so we do use that for our hackathons. We use that for a lot of different events. You can claim one here live. This one here too. May over time we may have a nice some incentives maybe over time, so we encourage you to put the QR code here on the screen as well. You can snap that and claim that. Go to the link directly. Again, something just a little kind of a collector's item for today's first live stream, and we'll do more of these and have that all together. Again, we really appreciate you guys all coming out and following along. We'll take questions as we go over time. Please, reach out to us on our Telegram, reach out to us, on Twitter, in different channels. Again, I'll put the dev support back up here. Again, telegram.com/neardev. And then also to, again, subscribe to our newsletter. It's a great place to get all that content and reach out to us. It's been a pleasure today to be able to share some exciting events. We will be back next Thursday, same time, with some more guests, some more information. We'll even be doing some more, actual technical deep dives as we go. If anything in particular you guys want to see, again, please reach out. We're always available online, and talk to you soon. Thanks.